Hello and welcome. Today we will be discussing this book, The One Page Marketing Plan: Get New Customers, Make More Money, and Stand Out from the Crowd by Allan Dib. Now, this book was recommended to me by my marketing coach who was coaching me for a while. His name is Wickes. He is the Chief Marketing Officer of V8 Media. And those guys are the leading advertisement company of South Africa. I do think it's a good book. I would rate it at least a 7 out of 10, probably even an 8. It's good because it gives you a broad overview of marketing. So it's kind of good for like understanding marketing as a whole. And it also goes through all the phases from the beginning to basically following up on customers. So that's why I think it's pretty good. And it also stresses the important parts of actually taking action and practicality. So I think it's a good book and I would recommend it. Now, in the introduction, Alan goes over a few things. First off, I need to give like sort of a warning. This book is written with an entrepreneurial spirit. So he starts off with saying, if you want to make money, you should start a business. So it's not written for people who just want to do marketing in a 9 to 5. It's really written with an entrepreneurial spirit. So keep that in mind. In the introduction, Alan just goes over a few things. He just fixes a few mindset issues. For example, one thing he discusses is that both product and marketing are important. So it's not just product, it's also marketing, and it's not just marketing, it's also product. You really need both in order to have a great business and then in order to have a great way to basically deliver value to society. Another thing he goes over is something really interesting, which is the difference between marketing for large companies and for small to medium-sized businesses. So large companies like Coca-Cola, Nike, and Apple, they are very brand heavy. So they do a lot of marketing and advertisements just to get people aware of their business and very brand heavy. So this means basically they want to know that people know what they stand for. So they will do advertisements who are more ethereal and more value-based as opposed to really trying to get as much customers as possible. And this is good if you're a large company because you want people to know what you stand for. If you can do that, you can charge more for your product. Now, as a small to medium-sized business, that's not a good idea, with a few exceptions, but most of the time it's not a good idea to do brand heavy marketing because you want to focus on direct response marketing because you actually want to get customers in, you want to make sales, and you need to have like a good stack of money before you can really think about branding heavy. That's one thing he discusses. Apart from that, he also explains that there's 3 phases he will discuss in the book: the before phase, the during phase, and the after phase, which relates to marketing, of course. So the before phase is basically all the market research. The during phase is basically all the active marketing. So that's the lead generation, the lead nurturing, and then the sales follow-up. After that, it's the after phase. So that's actually when people become your customers. Then it's basically, customer acquisition, customer service, and customer follow-up. And this is what we will discuss now. Now, in the first phase, the before phase, we look at 3 steps, which is basically the market research. So the 3 steps are the target market, the message, and the media. For the target market, he discusses several things in the book. So he stresses the importance of understanding your markets and your customers. So knowing which genders you're usually marketing to, what is like the age, what is like the careers they usually do, what is like the things going on in their day and in their mind. That is one thing that's important. Another thing that he mentions is that mass marketing is a bad idea. So you really need to niche down. Otherwise, you will be competing on price. So if you niche down, you will be able to charge higher prices. And that is because basically, if you niche down, you will have more focus. So you can deliver more value for a specific niche because you can focus better on it and you can understand that specific part of the market much better than if you were to market to the entire world. So that's why you can charge higher prices for it and deliver more value to the customer. Now, there is one caveat here, and you can't niche too much, because if you do that, your total addressable market becomes too small. So then it's really hard to market and sell because there's almost nobody you can sell to. Another thing he mentions here is your ideal market. So as an entrepreneur, he gives you something which is called the PVP index, which is personal fulfillment, value, and profit. So if you're looking at going into a specific market, make sure it's something that fulfills you personally, something that also delivers value to the customer, and of course, something that's also profitable to you. That's the first part, target market. Now, in the second step, this is basically message. Here we go over like offer and copywriting, things like that. So what he mentions here is that most companies, when they advertise, it's pretty bland and useless. That's because most companies, they just make advertisements and they just scream like, we are great. These are our services. These are our prices. And if you're interested, let us know. Of course, that's very, very basic and doesn't really pay a lot of attention to the customer. So usually like that almost never gets good results unless if you're very lucky and your market is kind of, well, you have no competition or maybe something like that. But otherwise, you need to put more effort into that. So that's why if you're good at marketing, you have an edge. If you understand your customer, if you understand your marketing, and you understand how to write good copy and make good advertisements. How you can stand out, even though maybe you're offering a commodity. So maybe you're offering like a coffee service. Of course, you're not going to make much money if you just offer like bland coffee. You're going to have to make it something special. So one thing he proposes is, for example, you can add like a nice looking artistic creme on top so that it looks really good. It looks like a luxury product. And that's one way to stand out. Now, another thing here that's important is like USP, which is like unique selling proposition. So that's basically what makes your service or product different than other products, similar products on the market. So this could be maybe you offer a guarantee. Maybe you have some kind of a special mechanism that other products don't have. Maybe you focus on like one specific area that other products don't really do. Maybe your customer service is much better. But here you should be specific. You should have like something tangible, like as a reason why you have better customer service. For example, we're available 24/7, and you don't have to wait to get direct support. For example, that could be a unique selling proposition. But like just having better customer service, like it would work, but you need to have like a tangible way of marketing that to people. He stresses the importance of a good offer. As I told you in another video I made, I discussed this in how to get better results with paid ads. He discusses pain points are important, so you need to speak to your customer, what he is struggling with, and what you can help him with to basically get him a better life or make some part of his life a little bit better. And then he stresses the importance of good copy and good headlines. So we need to make sure we speak to emotional drivers, and we need to make sure, at least for headlines, that we're doing something that pulls attention. So something compelling, something maybe shocking, something that's like intriguing. Those are things that make good headlines. If you want to name your business and you want to name it well, you should also make it very clear what you're doing so that the customer knows what you stand for. That's what he discusses in message. Now, the third step is media. And here we go over several things. So he stresses that getting your name out there is something that people casually say if they're new to marketing and they like start a business. Hey, let's get our name out there. But it's not something that's good. It kind of is similar to the branding we discussed before. It's likes and follows. It's not going to give you new customers. It's a really bad idea. So you really need to move into that direct response marketing. Now he stresses that if you want to increase your ROI, your return on investments, you need to be very, very careful with tracking results. So that's something that's really important, to have good analytics and to know what you're doing and exactly how much results it's getting in order to figure out what we can use to make things work better, and also basically to do more of that, put more budget behind that to make it generate more profit and more ROI. We also go over the lifetime value. So there is the front end value and the back end value. The front end value is basically what a customer is worth when he signs up. So maybe he signs up for 1 month and maybe that's 100 quid. But then maybe he stays with you for like 2 years. So then the lifetime value is more closer to like 2,000 quid. And then you would like have like 1,900 quid on the back end in this example. So customer lifetime value is important because that's basically what a customer is worth to you. And this is how we track the results of our marketing efforts as well. Apart from that, we go over the several platforms we can use. So obviously in this day and age, social media is going to be really, really, really important. So this is going to be like the main ways that businesses make profit nowadays. There are several platforms. It depends on which branch and which market you're in, but most of the things that's working well, it's Facebook, it's Instagram, it's Google, it's YouTube, in some cases Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, you name it. But usually it's like Facebook and Google are like the two biggest players. Now, apart from social media, which you really need to get on that, but apart from that, you can also do email marketing. So that's something that's really great if you want to keep customers warm. So you can follow up with them and try to upsell them. Of course, you should provide value with them, but the goal is to upsell them on something that's valuable to them and gets you profit as a business. Something else is actually the traditional marketing. So, for example, old school letters, just sending that to their like post box, because these days a lot of people are moving to digital because it's working well. But a side effect of that is that when you send a personal letter, it's considered more personal. So that's something that can work well sometimes. Now, the second phase, this is the during phase, and this is basically all the active marketing. I also discussed this in my video on paid ads, so check that out. But basically, there are 3 steps here. There is the capturing leads, the lead nurture, and then there's a sales conversion. So in the capturing lead, he mentions that you should never sell directly. Now, this is because, for example, if you have an ad and you're only targeting people who are ready to buy, you might get some hits, but you're missing out on a really large percentage of the market that would otherwise be interested. So oftentimes it's better to just give them an option to get like more information or sign up for something. Or, well, actually what's working good nowadays is just the lead firms, for example, on Facebook. And then these are people like we have to call them up and we have to check if they're qualified. We have to give them more information and then we have to convert them. So basically, those are the leads. So don't just target people that are 100% ready to buy because you're going to be missing out on a lot of potential customers. Also, it's important, or it can be useful to use a CRM to manage your leads because then you have a nice overview of things and you can manage things better. The second step is lead nurture. So that's basically when we call up the leads. In this case, if we're calling them up physically, sometimes we can also do like email marketing. It depends. But really here, the gold is in the follow-up. So we have to keep putting ourselves in front of the customer. We can't just call them once or twice. We need to call them like 5 times, or if you're in America, you probably even could contact them like up to 10 times or more, because the market is a little bit different there. But we need to keep following up with them, because it might take some time before we can reach them. And if we don't do that, if we just call them once and then we can't reach them, we're losing out on a lot of profit. So we have to follow up with them well. An example of that he gives is Joe Girard. So Joe Girard is famous for his Guinness record. He's the salesman who has sold the most cars in his life. So it's a very famous salesman. And his secret was actually in the follow-up as well. So in a bit of a different way, because those customers he initially sold the cars to, that was working well. He was great at that. But then after a while, he started noticing that if he really wanted to get his sales to the next level, the best way to do that was to keep good relationships with his existing customers and keep marketing to them, keep in touch with them for basically upsells and other services, and selling them new cars later on. That's what he noticed was working really well for him to get like a lot of sales. Now, also the content delivery is important. So, for example, if you're doing email marketing, give them something valuable that they can learn from before you try to sell them something. So it needs to be valuable for them before, because otherwise they're just going to notice, well, this person is just trying to sell me something and he's not giving me any value. So we need to balance that out. Now, the third step is, of course, the sales conversion. So the traditional sales, of course, speaking to the people, objection handling, things like that. It's all really important. It's important to understand the psychology of people, and in order to be presentable and professional. It's also important to not fall into the trap of being like too salesy, because some salespeople can just come off as annoying and value leeching. So we have to be, we have to make our guests feel welcome. So we can't be pesky to them, obviously, but some people don't get this. It's also important that our customer trusts us. So when we're selling them, we should be able to make them trust us, because if they don't trust us, they're not going to buy. One thing we can do for that is to actually make our website professional. So one thing that's important in a website is to have like your contact details. So you should show your phone number, show your contact details, show your email, maybe even your address, depending on what you do. If they see that they can contact support on there, maybe they see they have some guarantees. Those are all things that build trust as well, that you're like a legit company and that you take care of your customers. One thing just in terms of pricing that can be important is to have like upsells. So don't just have like your normal product or service. Also have something that's high ticket or like super high ticket, because some people are going to want to like shine and like use it as like maybe like a form of status, or something that makes them feel special. So if we can have that like high ticket or super high ticket item, that's something that's people who have the money will be interested in buying, and we can make more profit from. That's basically the sales. And that constitutes the whole of the active marketing, so the during phase. And now we will move on to the after phase. Now, in the after phase, this is basically where our prospects and our leads becomes a new customer. One mistake that a lot of business owners make here is that they kind of lose track of things from here on. So it's important that we're not just satisfied with getting a customer, but we need to actually give them like a great experience, so that basically they become raving fans, which he calls it. And Uh, Basically, this will get us the most profits and the most value for our business. So there are 3 steps here that are important, which is the first step, delivering a great customer experience. The second is like actively increasing the lifetime value of a customer. And the third step is referrals. So when we talk about experience, customer experience, what's going to be important here is having a great onboarding process. So making the customer feel welcome, making sure that he knows what is to be expected, and basically that he feels safe and welcome and knows what to do. Apart from that, the customer support is really important. So if your client ever has any issues, make sure there's a process you have for following up with them and communicating that with them properly so that you can gather feedback. And this alone will make your customer just a lot more happy, make him more trust you more, and make him feel more safe, so that he can stay with you longer and he will be happier with you, and potentially you will be even able to upsell him. That's the first part, the customer experience. The second part is the lifetime value increase. So in order to do that, we should prevent churn. And churn is basically, well, when we're losing customers, that churn. So if we're losing 1 customer every month and we only have 5 customers, that would be a churn of 20%. So you're losing 20% customers every month. Now we need to reduce that as much as possible, because obviously we want to make 1 customer worth as much as possible for us in order to, well, so that we need to spend less on marketing and so that we make more profit from 1 customer. What you can do for that is upselling them. So when a customer is happy with your service and they're still looking for more, or they might be interested, try to provide some valuable upsell for them, which is basically like something that's more in-depth or more extensive, and of course at a higher price point, so that you can deliver more value for that customer at a higher price. That's one thing you can do. The other thing that's important is staying in touch with your clients frequently. So basically you will be a warm, you have a warm relationship with the clients and he feels good about your business and your product. It's also important, guys, to know that you should focus on good customers. Don't focus on customers who take value away from your business. So Allan talks about the fact that sometimes there are people who are vampires and who will take up too much of your time and energy and resources. And so it's not really worth serving those people. Focus on the customers who are actually happy with what you do and who are easy to work with. The third step is referrals. So once you have customers that are very happy with what you're offering, one mistake a lot of people make is just relying on word of mouth. Word of mouth is very great, but we can't rely on it. We need to actively stimulate it. And for that, what we can do is stimulating referrals by asking and incentivizing it. So if a customer is very happy, go talk to that customer, offer him an incentive like, hey, if you have friends, I will give you like a discount for those friends, like £50 if they come start here. And I'd like to be able to do for your friends what I can do for you. So you should be taking action with that and not just hoping for that, which will also be really important. Apart from that, we need to encourage reviews and testimonials. So if they are happy, go see if you can take a review with that person. This will increase your credibility for new customers. Make sure those things are shareable so that people can share things with their friends, and they will basically market your business just because they're happy with your service. So then you're getting free marketing, which is basically word of mouth, and then you're taking action in that. He also talks about branding. So earlier at the start, we talked about how branding is not important for small businesses because we don't want to focus on that when we're advertising. So we should be focusing on direct advertising, but what Allan says is the way you're actually going to build your brands, especially as a small business, is just by serving your customers. So the way you sell to them and the way you deliver them and the way you service them is going to be your brand. And pay attention to that. That's what people are going to remember you for, and that's what people are going to tell other people and friends about your business. So that's going to be what your brand is like. So don't pay expensive advertisements for, like the way Coca-Cola or Nike does. Just focus on getting clients and delivering a great experience to them. One last tactic you can use is if you have other businesses, not businesses that are competing with you, but businesses that are somehow tangent to your business and relevant to you, you can share leads with them. For example, if you are a vet, so you are healing animals and you're in for animal recovery and things like that, you could partner up with an animal food retainer, like a shop that sells animal food, and you could basically share leads between the two of you. So then basically you profit both out of that. That's also another tactic you can use. That's basically the last phase. That was the after phase. It's really important. So we must stress not just getting a customer, but also making that customer really happy. And that's the way you're going to grow your business and make really great profit. The last thing that Allan shares with us is that we should transition from being just business owners to marketers. So stop just thinking about the product that you're selling them, and stop being just a person that just does the work. Start being a person that thinks about marketing and thinks about how can we deliver value to people, and how can we make people understand that, and how can we resonate with our customers. Because if you're just focusing on doing the work, you're not focusing on reaching people that you could actually help and make it compelling for them. So marketing is really important, and let's all make a shift from business owners to marketers.